Friends, what's up? I'm filming this video, this book talk video of an amazing 2021 middle grade book, the last Monday of the school year. And I set a goal on Sunday, the day before the last week of school. And I said to myself, I am going to read an entire middle grade book before the school year ends, because I know how hard it is at times to finish a book the last week of the school year, and to read a lot, especially during a pandemic. But then I picked up Frankie and Bug by Gayle Forman, and I couldn't stop reading it, and I finished it Monday during lunch. So I read a bunch Sunday, couldn't fall asleep Sunday, so I just kept reading, and I got up early today and read, and then I read on my lunch, read on my special, and I finished this book. And this book comes out October 2021. So you might be watching this before it's out, you might be watching it after it's out. Regardless of when you're watching this video, you need to buy this book. It takes place in the 1980s. Bug is this amazing girl here who is so interesting, so intriguing, so fascinating. And she meets her friend, Bug, and he comes from the other side of the country. I think like Chicago, I might be wrong on that. But Bug lives in like Venice, California, and she lives in like this building. They're like renting like an apartment, and there's like a person who lives above them, and like the person who owns it, I think she lives below them. And it's like this little family. And then, but she's not happy because she's gonna have to spend the summer like hanging out with these people above and below instead of with her brother, because he doesn't want to hang out with her anymore and babysit her, because he's getting to maybe that age. He just doesn't have time for that. He wants to like be with his friends and all that. There's like all this stuff that happens in this book that I don't want to tell you about, because I knew zero thing, except for I knew that this Gayle Forman was like a super big time young adult author, and I don't really read a lot of young adult books. So like when the young adult authors have middle grade books, I get excited because then I get a chance to read something that they wrote. So I'm like, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna be able to finish it by the end of the week. No, I finished it in a day because it's so good. And there's so many issues in this book, and it takes place in the 1980s, and they're issues that we're still dealing with today in 2021. And the way that she could tell the story, and the way that like readers will be able to connect with these issues today, but also connect with these topics with how they were being handled back then. But like I didn't see it coming. Didn't see it coming. And then I don't want to say like where in the book, but I was just like, what? And I said that just like that. What? Because my mind was blown. I don't want to tell you that much, but you're probably going to find out some of the things that happen in the book. And it just makes me so sad, because there's nothing like discovering these things blind. So if you don't know anything else and you're considering reading this book, I'm not saying don't go read reviews or watch other people's videos or whatever, but it's just so magical. Like I just picture like a 10-year-old sitting in their bedroom, or a 12-year-old sitting in their classroom, or an 11-year-old reading it with a family member, and like them getting to these parts, and like this book it's just what it's all about. Right, like I did read afterwards some of like the really famous people that they got to make blurbs, and a lot of booksellers that they got to make blurbs. It really is just an amazing coming of age story. It really is awesome. And I'm so thankful that books like this exist in the world. Like as someone who grew up in a small, teeny tiny town where almost everybody looked like me and had a similar background as me, to be able to read stories about people who are going through other things, and maybe people were probably going through these things where I grew up, and we just didn't know about it, and it just wasn't, they probably didn't feel very accepted. And it's just so good, friends. It's so good. And Gayle Forman, write more books for my middle grade readers, because you definitely know what you're doing here. And I read your little note at the beginning, or maybe it was at the end, but you talked about how long this book took you to write it. But thank you for finishing it. Thank you for writing it. Readers, thank you for reading it, and thank you for putting it into the hands of young readers. Books like this matter, and books like this are what make this world beautiful, and which make being a teacher amazing, and which makes being a reader the best. My name is Colby Sharp. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have an awesome, fantastic day.